Hi, I'm Pam Fox. Thanks for watching. All right, so the next thing I would like to talk about is our connections with our young children. So many of you out there have young children, and I know that's a whole different ballgame when it comes to relationships. And so I just want to put this out there as encouragement to those of you out there with young children. How are you making those relationships a priority? And so with when we're young mothers and we have young children, it can be exhausting, can it? It can be mentally exhausting, physically exhausting. It can just be exhausting. I've been there, I remember. And so, to sit down and take the time and ask the question, how am I making my relationship with my young children a priority? That's something we may not do. We just do the best we can with each given moment, right? But take my advice on this. You want to make those relationships a priority. You want to be considering those relationships and asking yourself the question, am I doing everything I can to make the relationships with my young children a priority? And some of the obvious things that come to mind that most of you are probably already doing, is just spending quality time with your kids, reading to your children, playing with your children, taking your children on adventures, whether it's in your backyard or to a local park, to the library, encouraging active imaginations in your children by doing, creative play, whether it's art or with Play-Doh, singing to your children. One of my fondest memories is with my daughter, was singing to her. From the time she was born, I would hold her and rock her in the chair, and I would sing to her, but I had one special song that I always would finish with. It would be like when my voice started to kind of get tired and go, or maybe that would be the only song I would sing, but I had one song that I wrote myself, and it was her song. And I sang that to her and rocked her until she was almost just basically too big for my lap. She was probably almost 4 years old when we broke that tradition and I stopped rocking her. But it was something that she looked forward to, we both looked forward to at the end of the day. And putting her to bed at the end of the day was never a struggle. With her, it was never like the issue with I need another drink of water, I need to get up or go potty or any of that. She looked forward to that one-on-one close time, and I did. And I firmly believe that because of that bonding tradition that we had from birth until she was almost 4 years old, I firmly believe that that's one of the reasons that she and I are so close. I really do. So sing to your children and have that that bonding, skin on skin, rocking, soothing, calm time of day with your child. That's something that I really, really recommend. And with my son, I read to my kids every day, and he loved to read, and he would memorize books. A lot of your kids probably do this too. Before they can even read, they've got the whole book memorized. And both of my kids still to this day love to read because I started them at a very young age. So that's another thing I would recommend. And with my son, he got into video games really early, and that was never my thing. So I found it difficult really bonding with him on anything in particular, but there were certain programs that we liked to watch together. We would watch The Simpsons together or SpongeBob together, or when he got older, sometimes we would watch Friends together, which isn't really, I don't know if it's necessarily kid friendly, but we would watch it together and we would laugh together. So find something that you can do with each of your individual children that is something that is bonding. Another thing I would do with my daughter when my son started going to kindergarten was we would go to this cafe, and we would split a sandwich in a bowl of soup. So we had this tradition, every week of going to this cafeteria. Having, a date night with your children is certainly a wonderful practice that you can implement. So these are just some ideas. But you can come up with what works for you. So take some time on this and think about your children and what they like, and ways that you can make the relationship with each of your children a priority. How can you spend time with each of your children in ways that are important to them and to you? But make this a priority. And by doing this, you know, this is something that you don't really think about when you're a young mother, but I'm going to share it with you here now. When your children are grown and they're moved out of the house and their childhood is behind you, you will always be their mother. You will always be their parent. But don't you want your kids to look back on their childhood with fond memories when it comes to, you know, their mother or their parents? Don't you want to them to look back and say, you know, oh, my mom did this with us, and she, you know, you want them to look back with fond memories. You don't want them to look back and remember that you were always tired, that you were always irritable, that you were always picking on this or nagging about that. You want them to have those fond memories. Now, can you be perfect and never be tired or irritable? Of course not. But you want them to have that foundation of looking back on and remembering the goodness of the childhood, of their childhood. Trust me. And so you have an active role in making that happen by spending quality time with your children where you are calm, where you are smiling, where you are laughing, where you are happy, where you're not nagging, where you're not irritable, where you're not raising your voice. Okay? So think about your relationship with your children, analyze yourself, and think about how your children see you. You know, I will never forget the time that my daughter, I can't remember what brought it up or why it came up. I don't know if I asked. I honestly don't even remember. But my daughter told me that she would be happier if I didn't yell so much. And I was like, what? I never yell. I made it a priority from day one when I had children that I wasn't going to yell at my kids, because I remembered what that was like. No offense, Mom, if you're watching. I just remembered what that was like to be yelled at as a kid. And I'm not saying you can't ever yell at your kids, but I made it a priority that I didn't want to yell at my kids. And here was my daughter telling me that, gosh, Mom, life would sure be a whole lot better if you didn't yell all the time. I was like, what do you mean I yell all the time? I never yell at you guys. And so we came to an agreement that I didn't yell at my kids, but that I did raise my voice at my children, and that I was stern with my children. But they interpreted that, both my kids, that I yelled at them all the time. So take some time and look at yourself through your children's eyes. Have that conversation with your kids. Ask them what makes them happy. Ask them what makes them sad. Ask them what their favorite part about our family is. What do you love most about our family? What things do you enjoy doing most with our family? Really take the time and ask your kids those questions when you're calm, when things are, you know, chill, and find out how they see you. Find out what makes them happy and what makes them, you know, sad, and what makes them excited, and go from there and discover on your own how you can make your relationship with your kids a priority. Okay? All right. Well, good luck. I'm going to wrap this up, and I'm going to make myself some breakfast, and I'm going to head off to work. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks for watching.